Can anxiety cause us to feel dizzy and lightheaded? Well, let's not beat around the bush. Yes, it can. There you go, job done. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. Well, okay, of course, that's not the whole story, is it? So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how and why this happens, and most importantly, what you can do about it. So let's do it. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time, I'm Tim Box, a mind coach. And for over a decade now, I've been helping people overcome all sorts of emotional and psychological issues with a particular focus on anxiety. If you find this video helpful, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget there's now a membership area where you get exclusive content and ongoing support. Okay, so first of all, let's break down the reasons why anxiety can lead to dizziness. When we're anxious, our breathing often becomes rapid and shallow, which, as you probably know, is referred to as hyperventilation. I've always thought this word hyperventilation sounds really unnecessarily scary. I mean, considering we're only really talking about our breathing speeding up. Anyway, what happens here is that by breathing faster than normal, we breathe out too much carbon dioxide, which leads to a decrease in the CO2 levels in our blood. Low carbon dioxide levels cause the blood vessels to constrict, reducing blood flow to the brain. This reduction can make you feel dizzy or lightheaded. So if you're feeling that sensation of your head spinning when you're anxious, you might also notice that without even realizing it, you've increased the rate of your breathing for some reason, and that's what's causing the dizziness. Next up is the fight or flight response, also known as the stress response. When we're anxious, our body can often start to perceive the thing we're anxious about as threatening in some way. When our mind thinks we're in danger, for whatever reason, it will then send the signal to our body to prepare us to either go into battle or get the hell out of there. This response releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Adrenaline causes various physiological changes. For example, your heart rate increases as your blood flow shifts and your muscles get ready to take action. All these changes can leave you feeling dizzy. It's nothing to fear in itself, as it's just your body doing its job of essentially gearing up for battle. And this will happen even if the threat is just in our mind. Also, when it comes to fight or flight, it's worth mentioning that some of the most important muscles that tighten and tense are around your neck and shoulders. When these muscles are tense, they can restrict blood flow to the brain, which of course also causes that lightheadedness and dizziness. Often we might find that repeated instances of dizziness are mainly a sign that we're holding on to too much physical tension. You can't get too far in any online search about anxiety before you start to hear people talking about the vagus nerve and the role it plays in any anxiety sensations. When we feel anxious or stressed, whatever is triggering those feelings can lead to potentially overwhelming the vagus nerve, which plays a key role in regulating our heart rate and our blood pressure. This overstimulation can lead to a sudden drop in our heart rate and a dilation of the blood vessels, effectively lowering our blood pressure. This leads inevitably to a reduction in the blood flow to the brain, which then results in those feelings of lightheadedness or dizziness. In extreme cases, it might even trigger something called vasovagal syncope, or in layman's terms, fainting. Now, this isn't any cause for concern in itself, but you add to this the fact that when we feel anxious, we might experience rushes and subsequent drops in adrenaline levels. You can see how we might end up on a kind of internal roller coaster that we didn't actually buy a ticket for. Anxiety can also lead to dehydration, which, whilst it might be a less obviously anxiety-related cause of dizziness, is still something to be on the lookout for. When we're anxious, we might well find ourselves sweating more than usual. After all, maintaining a highly adrenalized state is a fair amount of effort. This can sometimes catch us out in terms of remembering to drink enough water throughout the day, especially if our mind is occupied with seemingly bigger concerns. Dehydration reduces the volume of blood circulating in your body, which can lower blood pressure and reduce blood flow to the brain once again, thus causing dizziness. And I don't want to sound like that friend or partner that we all have in our lives who's always carrying a giant bottle of water and telling us to drink more, but if you're feeling dizzy, check your water intake. You might just need to hydrate. So those are the main anxiety-related causes of dizziness, but what can we do about this? Well, firstly, if you find yourself feeling dizzy, then stop for a moment and deliberately slow your breathing. Doing this helps your CO2 levels to replenish and will quickly allow any dizziness to pass. Second thing is going to be to reduce your stress levels in general. Take time out for you. Schedule times when you just relax and wind down. Try to resist the urge to buy into any idea of life being a non-stop hustle. If you prioritize the necessary natural process of recharging your batteries, then you'll reduce any ongoing muscle tension and increase that blood flow. Thirdly, stay hydrated. That annoying friend that keeps telling us to drink more water is very probably right. I know, it's devastating. Finally, if you feel like anxiety is becoming a problem, don't be afraid to reach out for help. The world we live in these days seems structured to deliberately make us anxious, and it's not a sign of weakness to prioritize your emotional well-being enough to take action when action is required. Only you're in charge of your well-being, so try not to shirk that responsibility and feel empowered to reach out, whether that's to a friend, a relative, or a professional. If you find what I talk about helpful, then consider becoming a member of this channel for more in-depth strategies and a much deeper level of ongoing support. There's a join button on the main page and a link in the description of this video. So hopefully this video has given you a good level of understanding about anxiety-induced dizziness and perhaps take some of the mystery out of what's been going on. But if you take one thing away from this episode, then make it this. Any of the physical sensations that come with feeling anxious are not symptoms of any illness. Anxiety is not an illness. Anxiety is an emotion. Even when we experience a visceral reaction to feeling anxious, it's simply our body responding to our current way of thinking. It's a natural human response, not a malfunction. So don't fear any dizziness, because if we do that, we just create more of the physical response that's causing it. Instead, recognize it for what it is, a temporary physical reaction that is neither harmful nor indicative of any ongoing issue. So, should you ever feel any dizzy spells coming on, remind yourself that it's just your body responding to anxiety. Acknowledge it, accept it, and use the techniques we discussed to manage it. If we don't resist these sensations, they often soon pass. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been of help. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But that's it for now. I'm Tim Box, Mind Coach. Always remember to be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.